Welcome back to our Global IT Solution GITS Playwright 7 on Lecture 4. Before you started this lecture, I highly encourage you to complete previous lecture related to this course. Let's get started and jump on the topics. So today will be, on previous lecture, we developed GET endpoints and validate the OK status code, 200 status code, and the response body. So today will be developed post endpoint. And also will be validating the response body and the HTML report. Let's go ahead and see it. I will be using the same website, which is a Reckless. Earlier we used it. Reckless. So this is our Reckless website. We'll be getting the post request from here. The first post request. So let's refresh the website. API unknown. Then let's click on create. So this is our post request. So copy the endpoint, right? And this is our create. Back to the postman, which is, this is our postman. Click on create users. So this is the create users, right? And over here on this create users, we can use tech lead, software engineers, MD Zaman. So this is our body, basically. So if we send the request, we can see the name on the response and tech lead and the ID number, right? And created it. So now we'll be following the same procedures in a post in our Playwrights. Let's open up our Visual Studio Code. Let's create the post endpoints. Let's create a post user. Post create user, right? Create user dot spec.js. So we'll be copying the same format from here, one of the format. Let's go ahead and copy it from the Git. So this is the format, we're just copying it, nothing more than that, right? And we don't need this, which is not relevant with this, and we don't need this too. We don't need this one also, right? It's a clean state. Okay, so now use the post. Instead of get, we'll be using post. So request.post. So let's use the post dot post, and we'll be using our endpoints. So endpoint base endpoint, we already have it. Save it. Let's go back. Endpoint, get the endpoints from here. Let's paste it here, the post endpoint, and our base endpoint we already configured inside the config file. So this is our post. Now we have a body of it, right? As you know, we already have the body. So request the post. After the post, we'll be using here the comma, then we'll be using curly brace. Inside the curly brace, we'll be sending the data. So this is our data, okay? And let's put the data, and data will be here. So this is starting with this, right? And starting with this, basically this, and we don't need this. This is the extra code, and this is, we need this one, and the data, which is our, this is the data file, and inside the data we are using, so let's delete this one, extra one. So this is our basically as a body meanings in Playwright it's called a data, right? So name, you can put any name over here. It's up to you what name you are trying to creating it, right? This is our data. Then we'll be expecting response dot okay. So okay, so let's not to do the okay text. We'll be using expect response dot status to be 201, right? So this is going to be create. So that's been 201. Let's go ahead and see on the postman. it is 201 or not. 201 created. So we can add, instead of OK, so we can add created here. So created, we're not going to be using the created. Let's put, so in Postman there is no created. That's fine. We'll be using 201. Let's see it is running or not, right? Then we can customize our code. npm run test. So it will be running all the tests, the first two tests and the second one. So that's when the third test is passed. Also we can run our test in specifically. Let's say post create user dot spec.js. So this is our latest post test, which is a 1 of 1 running and pass. So it is creating the data, right? And 201, it's, yeah, as we can see it. Now how to validate that data is being created or not? Same thing, we can do that. We can just copy and paste from the previous test. Object containings, right? This one. If we want to validate a piece of code as an assertion, we can do expect await response.json to equal or to contains. So to equal object containing will be using the whatever the response we have. So response we can see from here, name, jobs, right? ID. Let's copy this and paste it over here. Let's run it. To equal. Test is failed. Let's see why the test is failing. Because this is not equal, because we are using JSON file, but this is not going to be an equal, right? Let's go ahead and in the Visual Studio Code, and let's see over here, instead of equal, let's use contain. To contain, right? If you use to contain, it should be fine. So it is failing too. So instead of doing that, right, so we can validate entire JSON file basically, right, which is we did in our get response. So we can do it by the, let's say, one of the import, we can keep it over here. Let's use this one as a post create, right? So using create user, and we can create over here a folder. It's folder called a so we already have the folder response body. Inside the response body we can put over here create user.json, and inside the JSON we can paste all our code. Let's copy that and paste it here. Save it. Let's go back and call that, right? So response body, inside the response body we have a create user.json. So create user response body, we can call it here. Expect response dot to match stage in JSON, and we can just call this. Okay, so let's see it is running or not. Post create users should be up and running. It's failing. There is something happening which is not right. It says -2, it says +2. We good, look like so good, right? But why it's failing? It says the object containing created at 2023 5 this, it's a millisecond changing. That's why it's failing, you see. So it cannot use the created at, because created at is using as a millisecond. Every after millisecond it will change. So in that case what you can use, we can use instead of entire response body, we can use contains body, right? Like this. Contains body. If we are using the contains body here, let's do this. Containing to equal to contains, we can use to contained JSON, or to contain, we can use to contain. Now we can use from here only the name and the job, because ID also changing based on the creation time, right? So you cannot just use the static ID over here. So creation time and creation ID, it will be changed every time. But we can use the name and to contain, but it's still failing, right? Let's see why it's still failing. To contain, expect, and it says the receipt.id job that lead engineer's name and design. That should be fine. Job, because it is containing, right? It is containing. So how about contain JSON dot to contain JSON. If I use the content JSON, I don't have to use this, but let's see, it is working on it. If not, we'll be changing it. It's not working, so in that case we'll be using directly response avoid. Definitely we'll be using the avoid. Expect response. We're not going to be using the JSON. To contain JSON, we'll be using directly this. Right, let's see. Now it is working on that. Okay. It should, but there is a many different way we can do the validations. We'll see in upcoming lectures, but for now, think about this one. We already do the validation as a 201 status code and using the data file. This data file we can call that. So we'll be seeing in the next lecture how to call this data file over here in a customized, optimized way, and also how we can validate the response body for the post. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. Stay tuned for upcoming lecture for the rest of the course.